Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. Playing injured, sore throat, but emergency show.
I still got to get pretty.
Better keep working on that, Soto.
Yeah,
Take
I'll
your
get
time.
there. We're
Take your
getting
time.
there.
Late breaking news slash report slash. We'll explain as we go along. Uh, Vinny Bonsignori from Las Vegas just tweeted out this morning, less than 4 hours ago. More to come on this. A leaked source with knowledge of the situation confirmed that the Raiders are growing open to the idea of trading Davante Adams. The source of the club has begun reaching out to teams to gauge interest in the veteran wide receiver. So this is a very large departure from just a month ago, 6 weeks ago, where every single report about every single potential trade offer for Davante Adams was immediately met with a stiff arm, where they said, nope, no can do, not going to do it. He's a great player. He's too good. Whatever you're offering, we're not even going to listen to an offer. You call and say Davante Adams, we immediately hang up. And now, just 4 games into the regular season, the Raiders are open to the idea of trading Davante Adams.
It when you sit back and look at it, it all makes a lot of sense. You deny all the rumors initially because you want to keep his value high, his trade value high, not just as the player itself, but the market. You want to keep the market high. You want to keep him like a desired asset that we can't get him, so we want him more type of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Play hard to
so
get.
yeah, so one of the things that I said after I tweeted out after the Carolina game was there was a couple of plays where Davante Adams maybe didn't block at all, and it wasn't as egregious as, let's say, the Jack Jones play where he just didn't really try to tackle
He
at
evaded a
all.
tackle.
Yeah, he just kind of
He
like
get
put his
out of the
hand on
way
it.
to not
It
make
wasn't that
contact.
egregious, but if you're looking for it, it's like, oh, okay, well, guys are taking plays off. Let's take a look. Then it became a little bit more apparent because you know that Devontae is a pretty good blocker for a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think I kind of rolled my eyes. I think you kind of rolled your eyes at the whole hamstring. It's like the oldest one in the book. I can't go. I got a hammy.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go. Type of thing, and it could be a part of the business decisions going forward. It, there were a lot of frank conversations that were had. Um, After that, according to the players and according to Antonio Pierce. And hey, if you think that it's best for you to move on elsewhere, if you don't think that you're going to be around for what's going on here, plus there's the whole thing about his contract the next few years. Let's make something happen then. And uh, this whole thing of the Raiders are asking around to gauge interest. There could only be one or two clubs that are ever really called the Raiders, but when you say that you're asking around the league to draw interest, to gauge interest, you're building more interest, and you're building more of a sense of urgency with the teams that are actually in the running for Davante Adams. So, uh, yeah, it all makes a lot of sense when you look at it from that perspective.
So a couple of things. There's a lot of directions we can go in this. And we're going to go in all of them over the course. And of course, the chats are open. We'll get to all the questions here in a second. Um, Vinny Bossignori from the Las Vegas Review Journal is the Raiders guy. Like when the Raiders want something out, they call him. So don't think that this is Vinny like in the back of the dumpster at the training facility going through ripped pieces of paper and finding correspondence that he's taping together and coming to this report, right? Someone from the Raiders called him and said, "We want this out," right?
Yeah,
So
league sources are the Raiders.
the Raiders, right? Like this, like the Raiders wanted Vinny to put this out. This is a giant. All this is a giant for sale sign. This is a neon.
Huge billboard.
This Vinny post is a neon sign with flashing lights saying, "We're open for business," right? Our offices are from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and we're selling Davante Adams. What do you got? Right? That's what this is from the Raiders. On the flip side, this tweet just came out from Ian Rappaport. Raiders star wide receiver Davante Adams informed the team that he preferred to be traded for me and Mike Garofalo. There's nothing imminent, but a situation to watch for sure. So we'll find out, maybe, probably over the coming days, weeks, months, if the Raiders made the first move, if Davante made the first move. Is this, the Raiders saying, all right, we're going to move on, and this is Davante Adams trying to save face and say, like, you can't fire me, I quit, like, I want out? Is it the other way around? Or Davante's like, guys, I want to trade, I want to get out of here, and the Raiders are saving face? Or Raiders not saving face at all, and they're just like, okay, we love you, Davante, we'll do what's best, let's let everyone know we're open for business, right? We'll find out what, like, the backbiting and sniping stuff is.
We'll find out after.
We may or may not, but I'm sure some stuff will come out. Either way, it doesn't really matter. Our best receiver, the second best player on the team, wants out. Now, this went quick. It felt like yesterday. Everything out of Las Vegas was, we're not trading Davante. Everything's good. Everything's fine. No big deal. I looked up an old interview and how Davante Adams is on Up and Adams every 45 minutes, it seems. Less than 3 months ago, he was talking about Antonio Pierce. He's so awesome. He's so great. We stuck our neck out to get him hired. Like, I did whatever it took to get him here. He's a guy that knows how to coach. He doesn't know how to coach guys as individuals. And less than 3 months later, we're seeing this report, right? That Sports Illustrated report that the birdies are telling me that Davante Adams may have played his last snap. Antonio Pierce likes that comment.
Mm-hmm.
And then this
likes
happened.
that tweet.
So where did it start, right? Was that just a social media snafu and a giant fuck up from Antonio Pierce? Were things already kind of getting sour before that? Is it purely play? Is it purely just Davante Adams is like, look, I got a couple, maybe 1 or 2 more seasons of my prime. I want to win a Super Bowl before that happens. Let me leave. If this was Antonio Pierce just being reckless on social media, this is a monumental fuck up, like beyond proportions, of just one push of your button on your iPhone and the second best player on your team wants to leave.
Yeah, the whole AP thing is unfortunate. Shouldn't have done it, but it doesn't change anything really. I don't know that Davante was very excited about the quarterback situation, and even after, especially after the preseason or during the preseason when no player really took control of the position, I don't know that he was really that pumped up about being there. And then they go out there, they lay an egg against the Chargers. They have a big comeback against the Ravens. Okay, yeah, let's do this. This is what I think we can make this work. And then after the Carolina game, it really took. He was already pretty much like, okay, man, this season has to go exactly the way it needs to go, or I want it to go, or else I'm just going to ask for out because I don't have a lot of confidence in the position. And then to have the team come out so flat, I think he maybe lost confidence in the team being able to do it on a consistent basis, and he didn't want to be a part of that. I don't think he wants to be a teacher that much. He doesn't really want to be a guy to mentor guys that need mentoring from the ground floor up. He wants to just plug into a situation where he can win, which I'm not blaming him. He has his contract, he has his money coming to him, and he wants to win. And he doesn't see that happening with the Raiders, and he's asked to be traded. I didn't buy the hamstring thing. I didn't buy it because I don't know. I think you and I have a little bit of a sense about these things, and I didn't buy it whatsoever. And I kind of figured that he was probably gone after that. And then once I saw him, towards the end of the game blocking the way he was, I was like, okay, this guy's he takes that pretty serious about it, part of his game.
I didn't think it was a hamstring. I thought it was for sure diarrhea from that Taco Bell in his house. You know, you can only
Yeah,
have it so often before
you
it
can only
catches up
have
with
so
you.
much. Yeah, for
Too many
sure.
chalupas.
We're
So
we're
Devontae,
we're Del Taco guys, like
for
Turco,
sure.
like
Oh
like
yeah,
guy Turco.
$10 goes a long way at Del Taco. It barely gets you over the hump at Taco Bell. So Davante Adams goes on Up and Adams show every week. So this interview that we're about to share with you, it aired this morning. I don't know when it was recorded. Probably yesterday, but it certainly it was clearly recorded after that Antonio Pierce liking that Instagram post about the report that, you know, he might have played his last game. So this interview happened sometime within the last 18 hours. It aired about 4 hours ago and was recorded no later than 18 hours ago. Take a listen.
So this big story happens where they think your coach or your coach did, I actually don't know, likes this post about you getting traded. When you heard of that, I guess my first question is, how soon did you hear from coach?
Yeah, I haven't heard from him. I haven't talked to him. So I haven't. I don't know. I don't really know exactly what that was about. Obviously, I got, social media is a beast. So it's a lot of people out there that saw it and wondering what's going on and people reaching out. And yeah, I haven't spoke to him.
Well, I'm surprised by that. I would think he'd hit. That's okay. Well, I would think he'd. I mean, you work together every day, so if that, I would say,
Right.
oh shoot, I accidentally hit that. I unliked it. Now it's this huge story. Is that just kind of like what the dynamic is? That's not something that you want to hear from him?
Honestly, it's hard to comment on. And I'm
Okay.
sure you would imagine as such, but it's one of those situations where I just keep my head down and keep doing my thing, and let the chips fall where they may, as it pertains to that. But I haven't. There's been no communication with anybody from the team since that became a thing. But it's kind of just like the weekly
Yeah.
"What's up with Tay" thing. It's always some sort of drama, but at the end of the day, 1-7 doesn't create any of it. So people can say what they want, but I'm just chilling, trying to be the model for, not stirring the pot and just locking in and doing what I got.
So at some point, it's, business decision means a new thing now since the Panthers game. But there's certainly part of it, right? It's like you mentioned, I'm sure a huge chunk of this is Davante Adams wants to win. Only a couple of years of his prime left. Give me a team that's going to win. He doesn't think this team's going to win. But there absolutely is an element of distrust, animosity, lack of communication. Like, this was a national news story. Antonio Pierce liking a thing. You guys are in the same fucking building. How do you not bump into each other or talk about, like, hey, this is what I meant by it? Unless there really is something there. Unless, like, you guys are giving each other the silent treatment. You don't not talk about something like that.
You have to address it. From what I know of Antonio Pierce and us being from around the same area, I'm closer to his age than you are, but people from around here, they don't mind talking a little shit because people know that you mean what you say. You're not just going to say stuff just to say it.
Mm-hmm.
When someone like Davante Adams is a little sensitive, and you can tell when he responds to certain things, he has that little undertone of I wish I would have been talked to by AP about this. I wish he would have reached out. He should have reached out. Somebody from the organization should have reached out to me because I'm Davante Adams.
He's
And
mentioned that
for
many times
yeah,
since he's been in the silver and black. Like, they need to talk
yeah,
to me, or my opinion
they need
matters.
they need
Like,
to
I
come
like
to
this
me.
guy. I like this guy because he likes my opinion. Like, this guy's got a good head in his shoulders because he listens to me.
Yeah. So look, and ultimately, when you're one of the best players in the NFL at a premier position, yeah, you have the right to act that way. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't act that way, but don't say that I don't stir the pot when you're the actual pot. When you're the one that all this stuff has been floating around for all this time. This stuff didn't come from nowhere. And I'm not blaming him for wanting out. I also think that being talked to, because no one can tell me that Davante Adams, having watched the tape, nobody can tell me that Davante Adams wasn't talked to about his blocking. Nobody could tell me that. You go watch some tape and go find it, and you go tell me where he is blocking the same, and his guy wasn't making plays on the ball. So I think it was kind of just like enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough for us, the AP side and the Raiders. Enough is enough for Davante Adams. He doesn't want to be here, and that's okay. I don't want someone here when they don't want to be here, because we saw last year against the Chargers what happens when players are on a team that really don't want to be in that situation, whether it be for the team, for the coach, or whoever, right? You saw what happened. You saw what happens with the Panthers when there's some guys that kind of check out. If you don't want to be here, don't put him on the field, because he's gonna be dropping balls and he's gonna be missing assignments. You don't put him on the field anymore if that's the way he feels. I don't blame him. Thinking from me being a Davante Adams type, I don't blame him. I would want to go out there and be in a better situation than having to fight and claw and scratch to be 2-2. So if he wants out, yeah, let's figure it out. As far as him not stirring the pot, I think that's a little disingenuous, just because he's not the one out there saying I want to be traded, because those conversations could have been had a long time ago, where he's like, well, I'm going to give it a shot, but I'm not comfortable with this guy. I'm not comfortable with this situation, or whatever. So I don't see too many people being really surprised about what's happening here.
I think there's elements of both. I mean, let's say you want out of a relationship for like a really good reason. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm getting a new job. I'm going to move in 6 months. You just don't get along with my parents. Sex has gone to shit. Pick any reason, right? Right. Where you're like, okay, I have a logical reason why I want to break up with my girlfriend. You rarely just, like, when things are going good, just cut it off. You spend like a week kind of being a dick to her. You forget her birthday. You don't make her coffee in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of let it get sour to kind of send a message, and then you bounce. That's what it feels like. That's what this looks like to me. Is Davante Adams saw this team, went through preseason, had week 1, and he's kind of like, dude, I got to get another ring. I got to get out of here. Why should I block too hard? Let me complain about my hamstring a little bit. Let me make a really big deal about an Antonio Pierce post. That's what it feels like to me. Is he wanted out logically, and then it's human nature just to poison things, just to make it easier instead of cutting free.
When there's not a legitimate reason, or the reason doesn't make you look bad, you're going to try to make a situation that is not going to make you look bad.
Mm-hmm.
And like what you're saying, and to all those guys in the comments, it's been reported that he has asked for a trade. Dixon Carter, sweet.
I went too.
Look at this. He has an injury, and it's turned into him being traded. We got to stop feeding into this. Dude, we're feeding into his own words, Austin. I'm not trying to call you out on this, but I'm trying to inform you.
This report's a lie. Unless you're saying Ian Rappaport, Mike Garoppolo.
Ian Rappaport is one of the most respected reporters in the NFL, in media, in journalism. He is reporting that Davante has asked to be traded. So we're not feeding anything. If anything, we're feeding the truth.
A trade is incoming. It's a done. It's like, it is a
done
deal. He is getting traded. Period.
He is not playing again. He's not playing for us.
The Raiders have leaked that they are open to trade him. He said he wants to be traded. What else do you need? That's the only two parties involved here. Now it's just a matter of getting what you can, the most you can. We're actually kind of in the timing for this is actually not that bad. I thought if we did trade Davante, it would be like a lot closer to the trade deadline, and it would be because a contender's 5-2, 6-1, lost a star receiver, and they're desperate, right? I don't want to. You got to understand the value of any player in this league. It isn't a bubble, right? Like a Snickers bar, it's $1 at the liquor store, right? Like no matter what, like that's not players. It's everything around it affects it. How desperate is the person selling? How desperate is the person buying? How big's the contract? All these other things, right? I wanted to move on Davante Adams when it was the best possible scenario. Later in the season, as players start to get injured, teams, owners, GMs be like, oh, we got a Super Bowl team right here. We can win it all this season. We're just 1-star wide receiver short. We'll pay whatever to get him, right? That's when I wanted to move. We're not there, but we're not terribly far off. Garrett Wilson's not jiving with Aaron Rodgers in New York. Rashee Rice just got out for the season. A lot of contenders are out wide receivers. And I know that the big odds are that he goes to the Jets, and that's, makes sense. That's if you had to pick one team that he's going to go to, I would say it's probably Jets. But I would also say that if you could say Jets or the field, I'd bet the field. There's 30 other teams in the NFL who would all want Davante Adams. A few of them are desperate for a Davante Adams-like guy right now with guys on IR and guys getting hurt. This isn't a bad time to put Davante on the open market, Soto. We kind of lucked out a little bit.
Yeah, there's a couple of teams that I would be extremely surprised if he went to anybody in the AFC West. I don't care how much they offer. I don't think we're going to trade him to anybody in the AFC West. There's like the Bills are a possibility. They showed a lack of playmaking on the outside, and Josh Allen can't do it all himself every single week. The Commanders are a possibility.
Cowboys,
I think it would be the Cowboys can't afford him, dude. They're not going to trade him for one season. We're going to want to get a nice return for him, and oh man, we'll have to see what happens. But ultimately, we have seen the last of Davante Adams, I believe, in playing on the field, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. We had a discussion before the season started by how his contract was going to come up and the money being owed and the position where we were. And I think that in spurts, the way that the offense came out and a little bit more diverse, you always want to have a Davante Adams there because they didn't run those trick plays and those reverses on every single play, right? They also ran some traditional plays too for the most part, so that guy's going to help. And not having him there means you have the lowest completion percentage of the year, so he does help. Ultimately, I wouldn't necessarily blame Antonio Pierce for this happening because this was a decision that Davante Adams made, and I don't think that we were out there looking to find the right time to trade him. It was just whenever he decided he wanted to be here or not.
This is Telesco's first time to really shine, make or break. Right? Obviously, it was the draft. It was the first time. But he hasn't really done anything gigantic outside of the drafts, the Christian Wilkins free agency. But this is, and it's not just straight up like we paid Wilkins market rate. You're like, okay, you're worth this much on the open market, sticker price, got him, right? Now is Telesco's time to show he can wheel and deal. Can you leverage the Jets against the Bills, against the Ravens, against the Rams? Can you go to the Niners and say, like, hey, we want Ayuk and some picks, or we're going to go to the Rams, your divisional rival, and send him over there? Hey, we want, if it's to the Jets, like, hey, we want picks and we want Garrett Wilson. Like, not just the picks you want. We need someone to replace Davante Adams. Your first round pick's going to be number 32. You got Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams, that defense. You're going to win the Super Bowl. What's the first round pick to you? It's going to be the last pick of the first round. And I mean, like, this is all eyes on Telesco to get the most out of Davante Adams because his value is still high. He had shit last year at quarterback, and he still had 1,000 yards. It was like, oh, it was such a bad season. He had 1,000-yard season, which is only bad because it's Davante. He had Josh McDaniels as his offensive coordinator 2 seasons ago, and he was still all pro. Even with Josh McDaniels poison all over him and Derek Carr's worst season since his rookie season. He was still all pro. The value is still here for Davante. It's up to Telesco to sell it and let everyone know about it.
Yeah. There's a little bit of leeway that you get, not much, but some, when you're a former player as a coach, and when you connect to players on that level, when you're like the motivational type of coach, when you can talk to guys on their own level. But the Antonio Pierce liking that tweet was a misstep, and I don't know that it necessarily made things worse, but it definitely didn't make things better. And I mean, I don't think it's too damaging to the current Raiders themselves, because I think they've known what's been going on for quite some time now, and I really had hoped that he didn't do that. It wasn't it's not a great look outwardly. I don't know if it's necessarily going to like affect, free agents coming over, stuff like that. I don't think it's that big a deal, but it is a sensitive thing. When you're dealing with a player like Davante Adams and his value, you want to get your maximum value for him, and any misstep can hurt that. So I really wish that he hadn't done that. But ultimately, this can turn out to be a good thing. Maybe not right away, but we just gotta wait to see what we get back.
Yeah, I mean, make no mistake about it. This team is going to be worse without Davante Adams. Like, we got to move on. It's already done deal, right? Raiders want to trade. Davante wants to trade. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Like, that's a done deal, right? Now it's just a matter of what we can get. But make no mistake, this team will be worse without Davante Adams. Like, we were worse without Josh Jacobs. We were all like, we got to move on. We're not going to pay you $15 million. Josh, thank you for your service. We'll see you when you retire, and we'll come back to Las Vegas and we'll give you a standing ovation. But you just got to move on. We got to do it. And look how bad our run game is. Not just because of Josh Jacobs, but it's clearly worse. It's disheartening, man. Like, it's like we were talking about. It's like a breakup you have to do, but it still hurts. We just keep losing our best offensive players. Like, Josh Jacobs is just gone. Davante Adams asking for a trade. At least this time we'll get something for Davante. But
dude,
man,
like
Brock,
that.
All right, Bowers, crush it.
Yeah.
Do your
Like
best,
that. It's like that chick that worked at Church's Chicken that I used to date back in the day in high school. Not only did she work at Church's Chicken, but she had some sweet tits, and I didn't want to break up with her, mainly for the free Church's Chicken, but I had to.
So what does this contract look like for us? So we're set to have about $79 million available to us at some point right now. Our next season. Like, next season, we'll have about $79 million in cap space. That's an incredible amount. Josh Dubois tweeted out, if the Raiders trade Davante Adams, they'll be in the hook for 15.7 of dead money next year's cap. The rest of his $16.9 million salary go to the acquiring team. So that gets off of our books onto theirs. Unless the Raiders paid off some more compensation. Again, that's wiggle room. You can put that into a contract, do this, do that to make the trade happen. And they'd have $7.85 million of his signing bonus still on the 2024 cap. So that's the cap situation. No big deal. We have so much cap space. We'll eat that no problem if it comes with good compensation. $79 million next season before any restructures, re-signings, or before and after this trade happens. If we get all that off our books, there's potentially $120 million in cap space next season.
Mm-hmm.
If that is allocated correctly, this could be big, right? Getting Davante off, and that's giving enough wiggle room for some incredible quarterback, some receiver on par with Davante Adams. $120 million. You could buy the best of like three positions with that. You could buy a Pro Bowl quarterback, a Pro Bowl wide receiver, and a Pro Bowl end with that kind of money, right? Or just load up the team, which is great guys all the way around. Like, this is why it hurts to move on from DA, but like, this is why what it potentially frees up.
Yeah, it does. We have to see if Telesco can learn from previous mistakes and maybe has a little bit more freedom. Because I mean, I see a lot of the Telesco hate in the chat. You have to understand something, guys. He played. He worked for some pretty bad ownership, and he was still able to put some pretty talented teams out on the field. Um, I'm a little bit more, I wouldn't say optimistic, but I'm a little bit more even keeled about what we can get and what we can do with the assets that we do get. Because we do have a lot of cap space going for next year, and we do have some holes to fill. But we've shown that the young players on our team can contribute to a high level and help us win games. All right, but I got to take off, man.
All right.
All right, see you later.
I'll stay on. All right, just you and me, guys. So let's say that it does go to the Jets, right? Like when it's Jets or the field, I'd pick the field. But I also think that the Jets are clearly the leader in the clubhouse, right? For all the obvious reasons. Aaron Rodgers, they have the cap space. They're trying to win now. They're pushing all their chips in the middle. That's kind of who I want him to go to, right? In the NFC, it's a team that's kind of just trying to win a Super Bowl this season. So, like, if Davante goes anywhere, like, thank you for your service, Davante, but I want you to fail if you're going to play us, right? I don't want you to do well somewhere else. I want every other team to be poor, right? To be not good. And so going to the Packers would be great, right? NFC, we're not going to play them. They'll be done and worse, as time goes on. I would love Garrett Wilson. Him and Aaron Rodgers just aren't driving this season. I think we can get Garrett Wilson cheap. I think we can get Davante Adams expensive. 33rd team posted this idea for a trade. The Jets get Davante Adams and a 2025 4th-round pick. The Raiders get edge Hassan Reddick, a 2nd-round pick, and a 3rd-round pick. I would be doing cartwheels if we got that. I'd be doing backflips in the hallway if we got all that. A 2nd and a 3rd and a quality edge. I mean, we're kind of, if Tyree Wilson pans out, we're kind of getting loaded on edge right now. I know, guys are hurt and, our 2 best edge rushers are hurt, but like we got backups that are playing pretty well, and Tyree Wilson hopefully can still progress. That'd be a great, great deal. I don't know why you guys are saying there's no way we get Wilson. If Aaron Rodgers says, I want Davante Adams instead of Garrett Wilson, that's what's happening. Allen Lazard is the most targeted wide receiver in Green Bay for one reason and one reason only. Because Aaron Rodgers wants him to. Because that's who Aaron Rodgers chooses. Aaron Rodgers, you got to understand what it's like playing wide receiver. He's just saying like, oh my God, playing for Aaron Rodgers is it's got to be a dream for a wide receiver. If you're the right kind of wide receiver, Aaron Rodgers doesn't do the playbook. He does what the hell he wants, and you have to adjust to Aaron Rodgers. You can sit, if you're a wide receiver, right, on game week, right, you're going through all of your meetings, going through the playbook, going through practice, getting everything ready for game day on Sunday, right? You go through everything the coaches told you to do, everything the offensive coordinator told you to do, everything the wide receiver coach told you to do. And you get to the line of scrimmage and Aaron Rodgers says, all right, we're doing something completely different now because I see something. You have to adjust immediately. You have to basically read his mind, know what he wants, and adjust and go. If you can do that, you'll be amazing. Allen Lazard did that. Jordy Nelson did that. Davante Adams did that, right? If you can read off of your quarterback, you'll succeed. It's not just a matter of being a good or bad receiver. You have to be a type of wide receiver. And if Garrett Wilson can't mind read Aaron Rodgers, he's useless to Aaron Rodgers, like he's been this season. Right? Like, that's offensive rookie of the year, Garrett Wilson. With shit quarterbacking. But he can't get anything going this season. He didn't stop being good. He didn't forget how to wide receive. It's because Aaron Rodgers needs a very specific wide receiver. One that can adjust immediately. And if Garrett Wilson can't do that, what good is he to Aaron Rodgers? You think Aaron Rodgers have any problem saying move on? Think he cares? Do you think he cares if the Jets lose out on a young, promising potential Pro Bowler, or a high level young wide receiver that could be a cornerstone of the franchise for a decade? He doesn't give a shit. He's gone next season. He doesn't care. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying about this move. We need to swindle the desperate people. It's not Davante Adams is worth X amount of dollars and whoever pays first gets him. It's you send him someplace desperate. You send him someplace. You don't want, when you're trying to sell, if you're a door-to-door salesman, you don't want the husband who's an accountant and super cheap. You want the wife with the husband's credit card, who likes the cut of your jib, who thinks your suit looks nice. That's where you're going to get the money from. You want to appeal to Aaron Rodgers' vanity and selfishness. That's what you want to appeal to. And you can do that. We could get Garrett Wilson. We absolutely could. I'm not saying it's going to happen, right? And again, this is still me thinking best case scenario, but that should be the target. That's what Tom Telesco should be doing, right? Tom Telesco needs to be thinking this way right now. Who's the most desperate? What's their motivation? Who's the real decision maker? Who can we leverage against them? You're going to the Jets, you better give a call to the Bills. You're giving a call to the Rams, you better give a call to the Niners. Have the divisional opponents saying like, hey, you heard through the grapevine, like Telesco should be having leaks going out there right now. Oh, the Bills offered a first rounder. Oh, the Jets have offered a second rounder in Garrett Wilson. Like that you need Vinny Boxinori getting that call from the Raiders front office saying, hey, this is what's out there. These are all things that need to be happening with Telesco. Good GMing isn't just like, oh, I scouted the tape and this is who I want to draft. And all right, this guy's up for extension. All right, what's the average? He's like the 12th best guy. What's the 12th best amount? You need to be wheeling and dealing. You need to be Ari from Entourage, busting in the offices, shooting him with Nerf guns. That's what needs to happen. And you gotta think young. You gotta think young. The future quarterback of this team is not on the team. And I'm not saying Minshew or O'Connell can't win us some games. Guys, we're still in the playoff hunt. Like, and don't think for a second that this move means we're tanking. Stop. Full stop. Brake pedals on the left. Trading Davante Adams clearly means, it's clearly going to make the team right this second not as good. Our passing offense will absolutely not be as good. It's not something we can't recover from. If there's a single position that we can afford to lose our best player, it's probably wide receiver. Our deepest position groups are tight end and wide receiver, right? No one can lose to Davante Adams and be fine, but be just as good, but we can recover. We can make up for him. You know what I mean? Jacoby Myers is amazing. Brock Bowers is amazing. Let's figure out what's going on with Michael Mayer. Trey Tucker's coming along. The weapons are there. Obviously not going to be as good, but the weapons are there. We aren't tanking. We're 2-2. We're going to be 3-1 in the AFC if we beat the Broncos on Sunday. This is just business moves. Sometimes you take half a step back to take 2 steps forward. And if the time is right and the market's available, this could be big. This could be huge. We need to get a lot. We need to get a lot for this guy. Davante Adams is coming off of an all-pro season and a half ago with Josh McDaniels as head coach. He had 1,000 yards receiving last season. And it was a down crap season. He had 3 different quarterbacks, coach, offensive coordinator fired. It was just a mess. He's got 1,000 yards. That's only bad by Davante Adams standards. Coaches, offensive coordinators, and quarterbacks have egos. Aaron Rodgers is licking his chops at thinking what he can do with Davante Adams. Kyle Shanahan would be licking his chops thinking what he can do with Davante Adams. Imagine him on the Rams. They're thinking that. Right? What other things should we talk about here? So Jets cap space, they could take this no problem. They have $16.8 million in cap space. That's almost exact. It's kind of works out perfect. I really wonder if they did that on purpose. According to Over the Cap, the Jets have 16.8 million in cap space and 16.9 million of Davante Adams' salary will go to the next team that pick him up. Now, there's a really good. I'm gonna repeat this. The Jets have $16.8 million in cap space, and the team that trades for Davante Adams will have to pick up $16.9 million of his salary. Literally $100,000 difference. Now, I'm not saying that that's 100% on purpose, but that's kind of an interesting coincidence. You got to wonder if the Jets were like, all right, let's make sure we have just enough cap space to pick up Davante Adams' salary for the rest of the season, just in case he becomes available. We got to be able to move quick. It's like, so I'm renting this house. We want to buy it. We're just waiting for, our landlord to be willing to sell it to us. So like I have like my down payment, like the exact amount of what I think the down payment would be kind of squirreled away, right? Like I don't want to like put it in, in another property that I have to sell to get back, or, put it somewhere where it's hard to get my money back, right? I got to put it somewhere where I can get it out in just a few days or a week or something like that to put it in escrow. I have like that exact amount sitting there for a reason. The Jets have the exact amount of a down payment needed to pick up Davante Adams. Coincidence? On purpose? Was this Aaron Rodgers demanding that they do that? God, I hope the Jets are like just so dysfunctional and desperate, and Aaron Rodgers is such a whiny baby that he throws a fit. I want Davante Adams, or I'm gonna scream. Dude, we could swindle those New Yorkers, boys. There's a possibility. We could swindle these New Yorkers. Few things feel better than swindling a bunch of rude, loud New Yorkers. All right, we'll take a couple questions here. Keith Pardini, thank you so much for being a member. Memberships are available. What the fuck are we trying to do? Blow up this team? We aren't tanking. We are not tanking. Get that out of your mind. We are not doing it. Not doing it. It's not happening. We're 2-2. Like I said, we're going to be 3-1 in the AFC if we beat the Broncos like we have the last 8 times in a row on Sunday. We're in this. We're making stuff out. We're trying to do this, right? It does suck, right? Like no move that has been made hasn't made financial sense. We moved on from Josh Jacobs. We didn't want to, had to. We weren't paying him $14 million. And how's that going in Green Bay with him, right? Like we just weren't going to do it. Or did our run game suffer not having him? Absolutely. When he led the league in rushing, he had 900 yards after contact. He had almost a Pro Bowl season after motherfuckers hit him. That's how good he is after contact, and what a good like runner between the tackles that he is. Right? Like he's good. Not 50 million good. It cost us, but it was a move we had to make. Davante Adams. We'll find out the nitty-gritty details, but it went sour. I think it just comes down to he's on the wrong side of 30. He wants to win a championship again. He wants to be a champ, he wants that ring. He knows he only has like a season or two of his like prime left. Wheels fall off of wide receivers fast. Real fast. Hi, I'll say it's the Jets only if Rodgers promises Davante that he'll stay for at least 2 more seasons. If not, he'll be in the same situation. Might as well stay or he'll be another team. So this is different, right? Davante Adams, when he came to the Raiders, is because he was a free. It was like it was a demand, right? Like he already said no to the contract. It was kind of a lame duck situation, right? Davante Adams like doesn't have a no trade clause. Like he doesn't get to decide where he goes. Now you can always be like, well, I'm going to be an asshole. I'm not really going to play that hard. I want to go here. I want to go there. Like, especially veterans, you have some sway. Like you can move guys, or you can influence a little bit where you go to an extent, but you don't have that much power. Think the Raiders are going to do him any favors? And honestly, like he's not going to go to a shit team. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to go. Like it makes no sense for a team that's not doing well without a good quarterback situation to trade for Davante Adams. He has money left on his contract, but none of it's guaranteed. The Raiders wouldn't get a lot in those situations because the receiving team, it's not worth it to them because they're not in a position to like push their chips in the middle. The teams at this stage of the season that would pay the most for the Davante Adams are places Davante Adams will want to go. Like I mentioned, really, really good teams with really good offensive coaches, really good offenses that just had injury problems with their wide receiver are the ones that make the most sense. Jets, Bills, Rams, Niners. I hate to say it, but like Chiefs, God. Can you imagine the nightmare that would be if you went to the Chiefs? Ugh. I shudder just to think about it. What else? Dave Flores, the problem is we don't have the quarterback for Adams. Yeah, man, Dave, that's the core of almost all of our problems. Right? If we had a Pro Bowl quarterback, a lot of our problems go away. All right, what else? Yeah, I mean, depending on the team, maybe we get Garrett Wilson in a second. We give up like Davante in a fourth. If it's all picks, I'm kind of fine with that as well. I would love to get another receiver back here. Depth in general is always helpful, and a ton of cap space next season. We can buy our next quarterback if there's anyone available. If we're bad enough, we'll draft. But we're not quitting on this season, boys. Get that out of your mind. Not happening. All right, 337 of you in here. Really appreciate you guys coming in. We'll record the real show tomorrow, and it'll air Thursday. The members, if you're a member, you get access to the show early. So there's a little motivation to drop a couple bucks and be here on the team. But this is a constantly evolving situation. He may be gone by this afternoon, and we'll be back on to tell you guys all about it. But until then, knock on wood if you're with me. Hey, you made it to the end of our video. Great job. I know you want more. Go ahead and click the next video. And if you're feeling crazy, go ahead and subscribe.